Hi and welcome to Uruguay and welcome to its capital Montevideo. City center right there in the back, and in front of it over here is Montevideo Bay. 1.3 million inhabitants and consistently ranks high in terms of quality of life in South America. One of the attractions of Montevideo is what is supposedly the longest sidewalk of the world. It has even been considered as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I don't think it got that designation yet. It's 22 kilometers long. It has a subdivision in 23 smaller ones, and I'm at the first one here. Check out the map that I put on the screen right now. I'm over there. The Rambla, because that's the name of the whole sidewalk, the Rambla. The Rambla Baltasar Broom, that's where I'm at. And the map also shows you that the part that I'm at right now is not the bike-friendly part, let alone the skate-friendly part. But I wanted to do it from start to finish. In fact, in today's video, I will make it all the way to the city limits of the city of Montevideo, because that sign over there, I think, says Montevideo welcomes you. And I definitely think I'm at the start, because right there, it's closed. We're kind of in a port area. So the touristy part of the Rambla starts right over there. This is the day after. I'm here by bike, passing through. That's the bus stop where the bus just dropped me off. Yeah, so I'm kind of over there in the back somewhere right now. What you're looking at is Montevideo Bay, and along Montevideo Bay is the not so bike friendly part of the Rambla. It will be an interesting undertaking, because right there we seem to be merging with a highway of some sort. But believe it or not, I've seen cyclists, so I'm gonna give it my best shot. So come and join me as I skate on the supposedly the longest sidewalk of the world. Well, there we go. Let's see what this will bring me. Ah, I see. And there is a sidewalk. Well, what do you know? Maybe it's better to take that then. Okay. Although the quality is not great, I feel better this way. The quality is not great at all. But hey, at least the highway here. Let me give you a view again. I just came from there. See, there's a cyclist on the highway. There is an abandoned railroad track here. This is already called the Ramblas, or Rambla. Wow, that was pretty bad. The asphalt was really bad. It was a balancing act. But the bad asphalt stops here, and I will merge with the road now. That'll be fine. Just have to wait my turn here. Now is a good time. Oh, what a relief. Well, the relief will kick in mostly after I pass this railroad track here. Okay. Yes. Much better. Much better. A lot of cargo traffic here. I pointed out to you that I think I started kind of in a port area. Vigilance is required, for sure. There's a truck behind me. I'll let it pass. There you go, buddy. If you had any doubts that I was on the Rambla, there you see the term Rambla in the direction of Centro. That's exactly what I'm doing. Let's see what I have to do here. I think there's some sort of bridge coming up. I'm not sure if it has place for me. Yeah, no sidewalks over there. A little bit too risky, especially because it's a bridge. Although there's a cyclist coming up. Okay, no sidewalks, as you can see. There's a cyclist coming up there. He's taking the road. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I like a technical challenge. It shouldn't be too unsafe, and especially going downhill from a bridge with no exit strategy, like a sidewalk. I don't like that very much. I want to have the feeling that there's a backup strategy. So I'll just go over here. All right, well, let's see. That road maybe? I'm gonna cheat a little bit by taking a little detour. Because the bridge is actually not over the water, so there are other roads going in that direction, like that one over there in the back. The railroad crossing is always fun. You just gotta take it easy. Sometimes you can do it faster, but I don't know how these things are here. So I'll just take it easy. There you go. Yeah, this road runs in parallel to the bridge. There. So I consider this a good alternative. I'll merge with the Rambla as soon as I can. So my bet would be that the bridge is finished. Yes. That I can merge right back onto the Rambla. There you go. I see the sign already. Rambla. Straight ahead. Right there. Just across the street here somewhere. Yeah. And I'm back. Rambla. There we go. See? Puerto de Montevideo, the port area. That's how it looked. As mentioned. Yeah, there is a sidewalk here. I don't know if they count that as well for the UNESCO World Heritage Site consideration for the longest sidewalk of the world. So I think along the Rambla you will have some historic sites. Like over here, this also seems like some sort of tourist bus. And that looks like a soldier. I had to walk here. It's impossible to skate over here. I'll try to find out what this is. Caminos de Darwin. Okay. I have a feeling that we're approaching the bike-friendly part. I'm pretty sure about it, right there. So I have been doing the Rambla already for several kilometers. See, the bike lane is right over there. This is where the bike-friendly and the skate-friendly Rambla starts. This marker, 0 kilometers, marks the beginning of a bike-friendly part of the Rambla. Like right here. Here. All right. So we just came from there. The transition is rather sudden, from a port area to a leisure area. The body of water we've been skating along so far was called the Bay of Montevideo. This body of water is the Rio de la Plata. Depending on who you ask, this is a river or a bay or whatever. If you consider it a river, it's the widest river of the world, because at its maximum it's 220 kilometers wide. This picture here shows the Rio de la Plata. This picture also shows how Buenos Aires, the capital of Argentina, is also located at this body of water. It forms over there when two rivers convene, and over there is the Atlantic Ocean. The border between Argentina and Uruguay is also somewhere at this water. I don't know exactly where. Now, 180. Right there you see a street going up. It's some old buildings in the back. That's the old city, Ciudad Vieja. Not sure if I pronounced that well. It's where the history of Montevideo started. Until 1829 there used to be a city wall. It used to be a citadel. Right now it's one of the 62 districts of the city. I'm not gonna go in the old city today, but chances are that I will visit it in another inline skating trip. Right now I'm just gonna continue along the Rambla here. It's winter time here. The temperatures are pretty decent. I think it's 15, 16 degrees now. It's pleasant. Also, I think that the area will get increasingly posh. As I understand it, the east side of the city, where we'll end up today, is pretty posh. But first we have to make our way to the tip, right there in the distance, before we even get to the eastern part. Look at that. Jeez, that's pretty poor asphalt. The quality of the bike lane here varies a lot. Right now it sucks. It does. But hey, I'm already happy that there is a bike lane, so kudos to that. Montevideo, don't let my complaining deter you. I love what you do here. Plaza República Argentina. With a statue here. Almirante Guillermo Brown, Armada Argentina. He was a hero. Maybe in the Independence War, see the name Independencia. Green bike lane has disappeared, at least for now. Skate football, I'm not sure I've seen that before. Interesting. And right here is a beach. I'm sure that for Uruguay people it's way too cold. Where I'm from, the Netherlands, maybe with this weather some people would definitely visit the beach. We don't get a lot of nice summer days back home in the Netherlands. Yeah, the beach is rather empty. It's not the tourist season because it's winter, so you don't see a lot of tourists, which is nice actually. You can see all around Uruguay people going about their day. That's where, let's say, the nice leisure part of this sidewalk started. That's 5 kilometers ago. So we're gonna make a curve soon, meaning that that point all the way in the distance will no longer be visible. Yeah. So here is a National Historic Monument, the Memorial de Holocausto del Pueblo Judío. It's right there, along the water. You can see the outline. I just walked on the grass, show you the memorial. But you get a good glimpse of how the memorial looks. I'm gonna get myself something to drink at this gas station. Why not? There you go. Ooh, watch this. Be careful. There you go. Yeah, got myself some fluids. Almost at the southern tip. So I'm going even more south right now. I guess, to the real southern tip. I see a lighthouse there, and I remember reading about this, which makes sense for a lighthouse to be at the real tip of land, you know, to warn the ships. And there it is, the lighthouse. You can appreciate how, by just looking around, how this area looked industrial and construction-like to me at first. Ooh, sand. This sucks. It's sand all over the place. But hey, the real southern tip of Montevideo city, the lighthouse. There you go. I'm not gonna go further than this, it's okay. But yeah. Other than that, it doesn't look very inviting here. The posh part of Montevideo is about to start. Look at all those fancy apartment buildings lining the streets, all the way quite far in the distance. Yeah, this is what I mean. Look at all those fancy buildings. I read about this online. Check it out. So what you see here is the Castillo Pitamiglio, named after the architect Humberto Pitamiglio, who lived here from 1910 to 1966. And it's quite fascinating to read about this. Well, first of all, the contrast is really impressive, of course. Apartment buildings, and then suddenly this, yeah, what is it, like a castle kind of thing? Well, this is called a Castillo. Inside the building, what I read online, are many narrow corridors, doors and stairways that lead to nothing. I think that's fascinating. Blind windows and rooms with odd shape. It is bigger than it looks. I think in the back there you also still see part of the castle. Beach area. Not too crowded, of course, today. Always nice, a map of the city. Let's see. Here's the southern tip. I came from over here. This is what I've done so far. I think I'm over here somewhere now. And here is the same map as shown at the beginning of this video from an online source. Industrial part that I done nonetheless, and the leisure part over here. Over there in the distance I see the letters Montevideo. I read about these online. They're kind of out of the way for people, so it's usually recommended to take a taxi or whatever there, or a bus. But I'm gonna pass the letters anyway. Definitely gonna make a nice picture, or better said, I'm gonna ask somebody to make a nice picture. The stuff I have to do for cool pictures. Gee. Climbing uphill with inline skates. Why not? Alright, this thing is really out of the way, yeah. Luckily there were two people hanging out here and they could make a picture. This is also a nice angle, I guess. Let's give you a 360. I have to go that way. Fancy buildings again, or still I should say, and that's where I came from. Awesome. Stretch of downhill. Hitting the brake, obviously. Checking, all clear. Off we go. Well, this is not a through road, so I have to make my way back to the main road. Which is over here. So I'll continue what is arguably the longest sidewalk of the world. I think I have about 10 kilometers left to go. It does look nice here. Still fancy buildings. Nice green area here, lush with the trees. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure what this is. What does that say over there? These things are awful. Like mini bumps every 3 meters or so. I was like, man, I'm going slow. Turns out this was stuck in an inline skate. This little piece of wood. Take the road again. I tried this flavor. It was not cool. So back on the road again. I'm already at 24 kilometers. The claim was that it was 22 kilometers long. I guess that has to do with those first 8 kilometers that I also took along, you know, to make it officially complete. 50,000 meters. If I assume that these are the distances for the Rambla, then I have 7 more kilometers to go. I'm now entering the Rambla de Republico Mexico. So one of the 23 subsections with all different names, and this one is named after the Republic of Mexico. The asphalt is in really questionable shape. Wow. Well, there you go. Just had myself a little break over there on that bench. The view is awesome. Look at the kilometers and kilometers I've skated. And that's just a small part of today's trip. There are a few other people here hanging out and enjoying the view. Some fishing. And in the back, big ships. Big ships. Coming in from the Atlantic, I presume, or going to the Atlantic. The fancy apartment buildings have given way to these kind of houses over here. Smaller, but still very fancy. I bet these are very expensive houses, for sure. The nice thing about this Rambla is that there are different views around every corner. This is yet different again from what I've seen before. Completely deserted, this beach. There are the ships, the tankers in the distance. And there's an interesting building over there. Let's check that out. It's a hotel. The Sofitel. Kind of a resort kind of hotel, I guess. Right across from the beach, that you cannot see. 20 kilometers. So 2 more to go, I guess. Last kilometers, folks. Last kilometers. Now look at that sign over there. I think the road is going to end to the left to the airport, to the right to Ciudad de la Costa. So I think we're almost at the end of the Rambla. And also the markers suggest that. This marker says 21.5 kilometers. So yeah, I think I'm almost there. Yeah, this may be it. This may be it. The 22 kilometer marker. And according to the online sources, multiple ones, 22 kilometers is the length of the Rambla. And it does look like it's ending here. Yes, because there's water here. And when I did my research before I came here, the water I think is the end. Right here. Yeah, you can also see it. there is no longer a bike lane of some sort over there. I had to sidestep that bump. That's it. We've done it. We've done it. We inline skated what is supposedly the longest sidewalk of the world. Because I think we can all agree that this looks more like an interstate and is no longer a sidewalk, no matter how creative you are. That's it. This is the end. Awesome. Give you a 360. And as mentioned at the beginning, I indeed made it to the limits of the city of Montevideo. Right there is a sign that says welcome to people that enter Montevideo, and right there is the 22-kilometer sign. Right, we made it. The Rambla de Montevideo. 22,000 meters, says this marker. That's also the distance that you read online, but my statistics, let's check it out, say that I skated for 34 kilometers at 4 hours of time. So my bet is that the 22 kilometers only apply to the parts that are okay for biking. So those first 7 or 8 industrial kilometers that I did through the port area are part of the Rambla if you read the online resources, but apparently are not counted toward the 22. So this means that I did a lot more than I had expected, and I can feel it. The last 10 kilometers were quite harsh on my legs, I have to say. I saw all sorts of different flavors in the city. That was really awesome. I saw an industrial port area. I saw the edges of the old town, posh areas, and like this area, deserted. Because right there is the end. Now, the claim that it is a continuous sidewalk, I'm not sure if I completely agree, especially if you take into account the industrial kilometers that I did first. I did not see any other inline skater, interestingly, for 34 kilometers. Yeah, this was fun. Stay tuned for some more videos on Montevideo. For example, I also skated in the old historic city and along the most important street of the city for kilometers at end. And that street is called Avenida Julio de 18. I was being photographed without knowing it, and I was able to get my hands on the picture. Look at this. Unique footage. Look at me going. I also took the bike wheels to one of the more notorious neighborhoods of the city, named Cerro. And in the process, I actually stumbled upon some awesome views, as you see over here. So stay tuned for those videos, upcoming in the next few weeks and months. And now, let's see how I got back from this spot at the very edge of the city, back to the city center. Alright, here we go. It was a nice trip. It took about an hour or so, all the way from the city limits to the city center, passing through all sorts of different neighborhoods of the city. It was really awesome. That's why I like public transportation.